fake. It's weird. And so it's like this is the clearest like fixed fight you're ever gonna see. Look at this. That looks so fake.
What just happened?
He hit him with a left.
I know.
But watch it again. Let's watch it again. Look at this guy holding his hands up and watch. Look at this. He like literally shows him his chin
and just goes like.
And he goes down. It's also nuts, right? Just the fact that he's willing to fight the two-time heavyweight champion, former Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah.
A guy who's gigantic in his prime, built like a Greek god.
Yeah.
And you're going to stand, and he's a one-punch killer. And you're going to stand in front of that guy, and he avoided shots till the 6th round. He just started getting tired.
Well, when you're on a platform like Netflix that turns one-part episodes into a 6-part series, why would you think that part of their entertainment model is to have a 30-second fight? Why?
The internet is absolutely exploding right now after a stunning and completely jaw-dropping claim emerged during the latest Joe Rogan podcast. And it has instantly thrown the spotlight back onto the highly controversial Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight. If even a fraction of what's being alleged turns out to be true, it would fundamentally change the way fans view this matchup and possibly influencer boxing as a whole. According to explosive remarks now circulating across the internet, Anthony Joshua allegedly revealed that Jake Paul tried to bribe him ahead of the fight. And what makes this claim even more shocking is that the offer reportedly came with a specific request that nobody saw coming. This alleged conversation supposedly took place behind closed doors, away from the cameras and the public eye, but its impact has been massive, sending fans, fighters, and analysts into a frenzy and forcing people to question what is really happening behind the scenes of these blockbuster events. Once again, Joshua's comments have reignited long-standing accusations that have followed Jake Paul throughout his boxing career, suggesting that some of his biggest and most heavily promoted fights may not be purely competitive sporting contests, but instead carefully orchestrated business deals designed to generate massive attention, viral moments, and huge paydays. These allegations have reopened an uncomfortable debate within the combat sports world, blurring the line between legitimate athletic competition and entertainment-driven spectacle. As fans struggle to process these claims, one deeply unsettling question continues to echo louder than ever. Are we watching real, hard-fought boxing matches, or are we being sold an illusion of competition, where outcomes, narratives, and rivalries are crafted in advance and packaged as sport for maximum profit?
Done better is a lot of things, 100%. In the fight game, you've seen the amazing fighters that have graced us over the last 100 years, and the expectations that we put on ourselves are immense, but I tried my best. Jake done well while it lasted, but if you remember what I said in the interview with Cameron is, fighting's not just physical, it's psychological. And when you understand the psychological warfare, I did say to you that, Jake, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna see a time when I'm gonna take your soul and you're either gonna give up or you're gonna get knocked out. And unless you have that instinct, you just will never be a good fighter. So I wish that I could have knocked him out at the start. But as we saw tonight, Jake.
Joe Rogan has never been shy about calling things exactly how he sees them, and that same blunt honesty came through once again when he addressed this situation. While he carefully avoided making any direct or specific accusations that could land him in legal trouble, Rogan repeatedly questioned how realistic this entire matchup truly was, raising several points that were hard to ignore. He emphasized the enormous gap in experience, raw power, and overall ring IQ between a former heavyweight champion who has spent years competing at the absolute highest level of boxing and a YouTube personality turned boxer who is still relatively new to the sport. Rogan suggested that if Anthony Joshua had stepped into the ring with the sole intention of finishing the fight as quickly and brutally as possible, the contest likely would not have lasted very long at all, perhaps only a couple of rounds at most. He also used this moment to highlight a much larger issue facing modern combat sports, pointing out how entertainment-driven platforms and massive paydays are increasingly shaping the way fights unfold. In that environment, the financial incentive to drag a fight out, build drama, and maximize entertainment value can sometimes outweigh the motivation to end it decisively with a knockout. According to Rogan, the economics of combat sports have fundamentally changed, and this shift connects to a much broader transformation happening across boxing and MMA right now.
Basketball player.
But the thing is, he knocked Nate Robinson
He knocked him
dead.
the fuck out.
And it's the way he did it that I was trying to tell people. I'm like, no. That was skillful. So like there's like boxing matches where you see two guys just slugging it out, one guy lands a punch, and yeah, he landed a good punch. What Jake did is he slid back and landed a punch.
Yeah.
It's like the athleticism along with the intelligence, the technique. I'm like, he's not even doing it that long. And he's also hyper competitive, even though he's wealthy.
Yeah.
You know, like you would assume that wealth would take away your drive for
But
competition.
it hasn't,
He's also nuts, right? Just the fact that he's willing to fight the two-time heavyweight champion, former Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah.
A guy who's gigantic in his prime, built like a Greek god.
Yeah.
And you're going to stand, and he's a one-punch killer. And you're going to stand in front of that guy, and he avoided shots till the sixth.
Simon Jordan then added even more fuel to an already raging controversy by openly saying what many people had been thinking but few were willing to admit out loud. He claimed that Anthony Joshua could have knocked out Jake Paul at virtually any moment during the fight but deliberately chose not to do so. According to Jordan's analysis, which he laid out in clear and direct terms, the fight needed to be stretched out to meet Netflix's expectations and fit its business model rather than boxing's traditional competitive standards. He argued that Joshua's power, years of elite-level experience, and precise timing were so far beyond Paul's current skill set that a quick knockout in the first or second round would have destroyed the spectacle and potentially hurt the streaming numbers Netflix was counting on. Instead, Jordan suggested the bout required multiple rounds, manufactured drama, and sustained tension to justify the massive investment from the streaming platform and the global audience it was trying to capture. Although Jordan provided no concrete evidence or insider confirmation to support these claims, his comments strongly echoed what many fans already believe, that when huge money and powerful streaming giants like Netflix become directly involved in combat sports, entertainment value can quietly take precedence over competitive reality, leaving viewers to wonder afterward whether they witnessed a genuine sporting contest or carefully produced theater.
Posted on Twitter after the fight, jaw broken, heart and balls intact. That's a good thing. Time to rest, recover, and return to cruiserweight. I mean, he's coming out of it as if, well, yeah, I got battered in the end, but boy,
that's what he will do. I mean, it depends what you think this was. I mean, I never felt it was anything other than entertainment. I'm not surprised that it. I mean, Anthony Joshua could have knocked Jake Paul out anytime he wanted to. He didn't want to.
So why didn't he?
Because, well, when you're on a platform like Netflix that turns one-part episodes into a six-part series, why would you think that part of their entertainment model is to have a 30-second fight? Why? You watch a Netflix series, you can watch it and you can go, well, I get the gist of it. Why have you got to turn it into 10 episodes? Because I'm dying with boredom after episode.
Are you telling me that Netflix probably emphasized, listen guys.
Chael Sonnen absolutely did not hold back when he reacted to the fight, delivering a brutally honest assessment that instantly grabbed attention across the combat sports world. He flatly declared, "This was not boxing, period." And from the viewpoint of someone who understands high-level competition, strategy, and danger inside the ring, his criticism cut deep. According to Sonnen, what fans witnessed that night may have had all the visual trademarks of a legitimate boxing match: the ring, the gloves, the rounds, the referee, and the official presentation, but it lacked the very essence that makes boxing real. There was no true urgency, no sustained threat, and none of the raw danger that defines authentic championship-level competition. He explained that real boxing is built around constant pressure and the knowledge that a single mistake can end the fight instantly, forcing fighters to operate with intensity, fear, and total focus at every second. In his view, none of that energy existed during this bout. Instead, the pacing felt strangely controlled, the restraint looked deliberate rather than tactical, and the overall tone resembled a carefully produced exhibition rather than a genuine contest between two fighters determined to hurt one another. Sonnen suggested it felt closer to a staged showcase or charity event than a real fight with unpredictable consequences. While he deliberately avoided directly accusing anyone of fixing the outcome or scripting the result, serious allegations that carry legal weight, his message was unmistakable to anyone paying attention. When elite-level fighters clearly appear capable of ending a bout whenever they choose, yet consistently decide not to, the event stops being legitimate sport and crosses into the realm of pure entertainment. He ended his critique with a line that drove his point home powerfully, stating that what fans witnessed was not a boxing match in any traditional sense, but something else entirely.
Jake Paul had
had a very healthy fear for his life while he was in there. He was running away. He was trying to get distance. Then he was trying to step in to win this contest. And then he's trying to get out of the way so that he doesn't get hurt again. He was fighting. He's got to go forward. So now he's clinched him. Now he's dropping down to his knees. He's going below the waist. He's getting a double leg position. Jake was fighting for his survival. You could see that this animal who's been caged and is just trying to make it through. It was incredible. And any boxer that wants to say, well, that wasn't high-level boxing, go ahead. I won't argue with you. But any human that says that wasn't a fight.
After the fight finally came to an end, Anthony Joshua was surprisingly open, honest, and self-reflective about his performance inside the ring. While he did technically get the job done with the 6th-round knockout that everyone witnessed, Joshua admitted that he did not feel it was anywhere near his best showing and believed he was capable of performing at a much higher level. He acknowledged that he needed to do better, explaining that he struggled early in the fight to land clean, consistent shots, and was unable to corner Jake Paul as quickly as many fans and experts had expected, especially given the massive gap in experience and overall skill between them. Joshua made it clear that while the result goes down as a win on paper, he did not view it as a true success by his own standards. He emphasized that there is still significant work ahead of him if he wants to return to championship form and compete at the highest level once again. It was a notably humble and grounded assessment, particularly coming from a former heavyweight champion who had just knocked out one of the most talked about and polarizing figures in combat sports today.
Yeah.
In awe of the fact that you do what you do.
I mean, it's not that hard to get your ass beat. I won 2 rounds and then I got dropped. But it was a great experience. Like, I learned a lot in there. But I had him wobbled at one point.
He hit you in the face, and not only did you not get knocked out, you dropped and said, wow.
Wow, that was nice. I was on the ground. I was like, that was a good shot.
Did he surprise you with his power?
He surprised my jaw. It's literally snapped. It's
What,
like
you-
a baseball in there. But yeah, I mean, I told everyone, though, that I would do better than Francis and that Francis kind of got no chin.
So
Francis low-key soft. I think maybe now.
Despite getting knocked out, this moment perfectly highlighted Jake Paul's marketing instincts and his deep understanding of how the combat sports business really works. Almost immediately after his high-profile fight with Anthony Joshua came to an end, Paul wasted absolutely no time in redirecting the narrative away from the loss and straight toward his next potential blockbuster matchup. In a post-fight interview that felt carefully planned and strategically timed, he boldly called out former UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou, a man widely viewed as one of the most dangerous and intimidating punchers in the entire history of combat sports. By doing this, Paul sent a clear message that he is not interested in retreating after defeat, but instead wants to keep testing himself against the biggest, baddest names available. This call-out signaled a deliberate shift away from traditional influencer boxing and toward MMA crossover hype, where global attention, massive paydays, and mainstream relevance are at their peak right now. Importantly, this was not empty trash talk or ego-driven bravado. It was a calculated business move designed to capitalize on the enormous visibility of the Joshua fight and immediately place Paul back at the center of the conversation. Social media reacted exactly as expected, with fans split between genuine excitement and deep skepticism, debating whether Paul could realistically handle Ngannou's terrifying power and the elite striking and wrestling foundation he built over years in the UFC. From a pure business perspective, however, the strategy is hard to ignore. A matchup like that would dominate headlines for weeks, drive huge pay-per-view numbers, and further expand Jake Paul's brand into the heart of mainstream combat sports. It continues a familiar pattern that has defined his career so far: high-risk, high-reward matchups that deliberately blur the line between legitimate competition and spectacle, keeping audiences engaged, debating, and ultimately spending money.
Me, in my opinion, I think it's scripted a little bit because, of the weight difference, and, Joshua is a former, champion. And also, he's current, he's active, and this is going to be the first time that we see Paul, fighting an active fighter. We seen the Mike Tyson, that was all fun, that was cute, It's fun and games and stuff, but now you're dealing with a real professional, and so we'll see how it ends up like I said, I think it's scripted, but, we're going to see. At the end of the day, I just want everybody to have fun. I want them to enjoy themselves because we risk our lives for others' entertainment, and just go home safely to be able to have
Deontay Wilder did not hold back at all when reacting to the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul matchup, describing it as one of the most bizarre and genuinely confusing spectacles in modern boxing history. Coming from someone with Wilder's resume, that assessment carries serious weight. He expressed real disbelief that a former heavyweight champion like Joshua, someone who has competed at the absolute highest level of the sport, would even agree to step into the ring with a social media influencer, openly questioning both the competitive legitimacy of the matchup and the true motivation behind making the fight in the first place. While Wilder acknowledged the obvious entertainment value and the massive financial stakes involved, factors that are impossible to ignore in today's boxing landscape, he made it clear that from a professional boxer's perspective, especially that of a former champion who has spent his career fighting elite-level opponents, the fight felt completely unnatural and fundamentally wrong. He pointed to the enormous gap in skill, experience, and raw knockout power between the two fighters, emphasizing that this kind of disparity is impossible to overlook if you truly understand boxing. Wilder also hinted, sparking even more discussion, that Joshua's overall approach and strategy may have been influenced by forces far beyond pure sport, including media exposure, streaming platform demands, and business considerations, rather than a simple desire to prove who the better fighter was. It was a harsh and damning assessment from someone who knows exactly what championship-level boxing is supposed to look like, and it only added more fuel to the ongoing debate surrounding where the line between sport and spectacle is being drawn.